How's it going, YouTube? I'm Landon and welcome back to a new most amazing top 10 video. I really hope you guys are enjoying this video, so don't forget to subscribe for more videos, turn on the notification, and hit the like button if you do enjoy this video. Okay, have you guys ever heard the saying, you'll never commit a crime in your life, but you can never say you'll never be convicted of a crime? Well, this is true for some of the convicts on this list who are actually innocent, and after a lengthy time in prison, they're able to prove their innocence and become released. It's actually really sad, but some of these people on this list just simply outlive their really long sentences. So this right here is the top 10 people who outlived insane prison sentences part 4. If you guys want part 3, you guys can click right over here, and also I'll put a link in the description below. And let me know your guys' suggestions for future top 10 videos. So starting us off at number 10 with our first female in this series, we're talking about Noura Jackson. She was only 18 years old when she discovered her mother covered in blood, and she was laying on their floor in their Memphis, Tennessee home. Jennifer became the prime suspect. While at this age, most teenagers, they're just finishing up their senior year of high school, they're making plans for what they want to take in college and university, they're making bad decisions in life, but they're no murderers. Well, for Noura, she is battling in court for the death of her mom. She is facing first-degree murder after her mother was stabbed 50 times. Jennifer was sentenced to 20 years and 9 months behind bars. It was just last year where Noura won her freedom after being in prison for about 11 years. This is such a crazy story. Noura's father was also murdered in 2004, and that murder also went unsolved, and for who killed her mom, we still don't know. Number 9, we have Sam Calixte, who was serving a 50-year prison sentence. Well, after just 19 years, he has been released into society. Sam was convicted back in 1998 for robbing a Lake Worth pawn shop when he was just 15 years old, and since then, his life revolved around prison rules and being confined. Well, it was a Palm Beach County judge that suspended the sentence out of nowhere, and Sam was ordered to be released immediately at the age of 34 years old. He wasn't supposed to be released until he was 65. I'm sure for the rest of his life, he's gonna live an honest life and try to stay out of prison, although it wasn't his fault. So like I was saying in the intro, you can never say you will never go to prison, because you could be framed, you could be convicted for a crime you never committed. Okay, moving into number 8, we have Adam Gray, who served 20 years for a crime he didn't commit. Adam was sentenced to life when he was just 14 years old, and this is when he was convicted of setting a fire that killed 2 people back in 1993. He actually confessed after 7 hours of police interrogating him without his parents or attorney present. He said he couldn't take it anymore, and he just told the detective whatever the heck they wanted to hear. This is why interrogating could be a negative thing. We all know what happened with the Brandon Dassey case, right? You know, the Netflix show Making a Murderer?
Come on, Brandon, be honest. You can do it. Just tell us the truth.
I grabbed her arm, put it on the side, and tied her up.
Are we looking? Alright, number 7, we have DeMarlo Antwin. Well, he was just freed from prison after 23 years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. DeMarlo was 19 years old when he was arrested, and he was charged for a murder. Well, now that he's released, unfortunately, because the crime he committed was in Nevada, and he was arrested in Nevada, he actually isn't entitled to any compensation funds for being wrongly convicted. So it just sucks he was wrongly convicted in the wrong state. Nevada is actually one of 18 states in the nation that doesn't provide anything for people who were imprisoned falsely. 4% of Nevada's inmates have been wrongly convicted, which is around 500 people. That's why I'm doing another series on this channel called Top 10 Innocent People Convicted. Alright, moving into number 6, let me take you guys over to Pennsylvania, where 43-year-old Shaurn Thomas has just recently walked out of the county correctional facility as a free man. After serving 24 years behind bars, a judge has thrown out his conviction for the 1990 murder of a businessman in North Philadelphia. This was because recently there has been some new evidence that proved Shaurn was actually the wrong person. Thomas told the media when he was released, and I quote, "I felt the justice system was going to prevail sooner or later, and that somebody would hear my cries." Shaurn has been locked away since he was 16 years old. When he was 19, he was sentenced to life in prison. Well, luckily now he is out. And let's just hope he wasn't in prison in one of those states that don't pay you money for being wrongly convicted, because he should be entitled to millions of dollars. Number 5, let's talk about Anthony Sanborn Jr. He was found guilty of murder when he was just 16 years old for murdering 16-year-old Jessica L. Briggs. Anthony was tried as an adult and was convicted back in 1992 after a 9-day trial. He was sentenced to 70 years in prison. Anthony claims that he's never killed anyone, and he's actually maintained his innocence. 25 years after the murder, a key witness actually took back their testimony, which came as a shock to the courtroom. The witness said they actually didn't witness this killing. The judge, who was presented with the lack of evidence to prove this was the right person who committed the crime, dropped all charges, and Antwin was set as a free man. So we still actually don't know who the killer is, but all we know is this guy, this wrong guy, has served 25 years behind bars for no reason. At number 4, we have Andrew Wilson, who served 32 years behind bars. Andrew was convicted of stabbing to death 21-year-old man who was sleeping in his truck with his girlfriend back in 1984. When Andrew was arrested, he claimed he didn't kill anyone and they had the wrong person. According to Andrew's attorneys, key pieces of evidence were never turned over to the defense during the trial. It took 25 years for a new superior judge to claim that by withholding evidence, Andrew was deprived of his constitutional rights to a fair trial, and because of that, the judge ordered his release immediately from prison, so Andrew was able to be released from prison to take care of his 96-year-old mom. He got out just in time. Number 3, we have Eddie Collins, who is behind bars for 44 years. After spending 4 decades behind bars for the murder, he was finally a free man. He was released from the Arizona State Prison in Florence. Back in 1973, Eddie and his brother were involved in a drug deal in Tucson. His brother fatally shot Terry Young. Eddie's brother took a plea deal and he only served 10 years. Okay, hold on a second. Is this real life right now? So you're telling me that the killer took a plea deal and he's getting 10 years and the brother, who just happened to be with him, is in life in prison? So his brother served 44 years behind bars. The justice system, it just doesn't make sense here. Alright, number 2, let's talk about John Sam Hall, who served 50 years in prison after a mugging went tragically wrong in an alleyway in Detroit. When he was 17 years old, John was sentenced to life without parole. But like we've just learned about the new law, where minors, they're not allowed to be sentenced to life without parole. This is when a judge released him back into society. It's been half a century since this guy has lived in a normal world. So much has changed, and now around 70 years old, it's going to be very difficult for him to understand things. It's like being dropped off in a foreign country and they don't even speak your language. It could be very, very frustrating. Finally, number 1, we have Jack McCullough, who has also served 50 years behind bars. But unlike John at number 2, Jack served all of his time as an innocent person. Jack is from Washington State and the law failed him. He was convicted in the abduction and killing of a 7-year-old Illinois schoolgirl back in 1957. This girl's disappearance made headlines nationwide. There was a lot of unsolved answers during this trial, and just when the family thought that they had some closure finding out who the killer was behind bars, the case was reopened, and it was proven that Jack wasn't the killer, and the killer is still out there. So saying that though, the family is still convinced that Jack is still guilty and he's actually the killer. Maybe they're in denial. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.